This is Special Chronicles, giving respect and a voice to people with special needs.
I shudder thinking how the world can be so cruel. I lend my voice to those who can't. It's time we try, it's time we care, it's time we stand. It starts with a voice.
Welcome to the Special Chronicles show. I am Daniel Smrokowski, and I'm the founder of Special Chronicles and a Special Olympic Southern Striver International Global Messenger and an EnergyForce ambassador with ComEd. Our website, specialchronicles.com, where you can stream archives of over 750 episodes absolutely for free. And follow Special Chronicles on social media, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or wherever you get your podcasts. This week on the Special Chronicles podcast, EnergyForce series, season 6, part 7. Our topic this month is communication with the customer. Our guest is Shakara Robinson, eChannels Senior Program Manager with ComEd, is here to talk about all different ways that the customers can communicate with the customer. So we're excited to dive into this topic. So please put your virtual hands together as we welcome Shakara to Special Chronicles. Welcome. Yeah, it's good to have you on the show. So first, before we dive into this topic, why don't you share with the listeners how we got connected and a little bit about your role at ComEd? Because I think it was as an EnergyForce ambassador, I think the Codal 2 check-in training call, I think, was when we first got connected. But why don't you share with our listeners how we got connected in your role at ComEd?
Yeah, so yes, you're right. We did get connected through the EnergyForce Ambassador Program social media training. I had the pleasure of showing you and some of your fellow colleagues and teammates the best way to take pictures for photos for social media use when you all are out in our community, supporting our events, educating our customers, interacting face-to-face with our customers. Always a good opportunity to capture, the action in that moment. So definitely had the privilege of being able to train you all a little bit on how to take photos for our social media use. That way we can visually tell those stories with our customers on our feeds. A little bit more about me and my role, Senior eChannels Program Manager for ComEd. So a lot of my day-to-day is focused on content creation, content strategy, making sure that the items that we post to our several social media channels align with what our leaders expect from us, what our leaders hope that we, connect with our customers with information. Some days I'm copywriting, some days I'm making graphics or videos. Some days I'm connecting with other departments on paid media ads and strategy and just working with them for the best ways to connect with our customers through those campaigns. It's never a dull moment in social media. That's one of the things I really, really like about it is you never know what the day is going to bring. So I enjoy that excitement.
Awesome. So, and that's why I think we thought that for this particular topic, that you would be the perfect guest, because we can really dive in and talk a little bit about social media and I think throughout this episode, throughout this conversation, what our listeners will discover is that it's not just ComEd is not just putting out information, but it's really healing from the customer. So it's really like when we talk about communication, almost like what we're doing on this podcast. It's a back and forth. You and I are going back and forth, or if you are out with your friends and you're communicate, even if you're just hanging out with your friends, you're communicating. So I think like that's a key. Like it's when we talk about communication with customer or with anyone, it's always there's always like a back and forth between multiple people, and so whereas I think a lot of times with social media, people might think that it's just you just put it out in information, but there's really open dialogue, I think.
Yes, there's open dialogue, and I work with an amazing team of people who are all experts in their own way with social media. So we're always brainstorming together, working together to align our messaging to make sure that it is the way that we want the customer to receive it. One way that you may say something may not be the way that the customer, sees it the same way. So I'm lucky to work with a very unique team of different people. We're able to strategize, brainstorm together to make sure that that communication is effective between the brand and the customer, for sure. Awesome.
So we're gonna, before we dive into the social media messages with the customer, we're going to take our first break, and when we come back, we will get into all the different social media platforms that ComEd uses. So we'll be right back right here on SpecialChronicles.com.
Support for Special Chronicles comes from listeners like you. As an independent public media podcast, Special Chronicles will always be there for you. Now we're asking you to be there for us. As a nonprofit independent media organization, we can only make programs like Special Chronicles with listener support. Our programs provide weekly, candid, honest, and inspiring conversations about the people with disabilities community that creates awareness, support, and advocacy within each week's episode. Listeners tell us our shows are an enjoyable and necessary podcast for the intellectual and developmental disability community and everyone else who is able to listen to stories about life from a different angle. Please, if you and your family love our weekly podcasts, make a one-time, monthly, or annual gift of thanks today. Support this podcast at SpecialChronicles.com/give. That's SpecialChronicles.com/give.
So our guest is Shakara Robinson, Senior eChannels Program Manager at ComEd, and we mentioned that open dialogue when we talk about communication, but I guess before we can get into that open dialogue that the customer can communicate, we first kind of have to kind of introduce the different social media messages. So ComEd uses a number of different social media platforms. Can you share with us, because there was a lot, there was Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, or X, I guess, or Threads, and LinkedIn, and Snapchat, and TikTok, and a lot of different apps. But can you share, is ComEd on all the different social media platforms, or what's the best social media platforms that ComEd has found that has the most impact with communication with the customer?
Yeah, so we are on a variety of channels, including Twitter, which is now X, as you said, Facebook, Meta, Instagram. We are on LinkedIn as well, and Nextdoor. So those are the primary channels that we post on day to day. The most used platforms for communication with the customer would definitely be Twitter and Facebook, where we're able to use text in combination with pictures, videos, even having fun with emojis where it makes sense to make a personable connection with the customer. So Twitter, Facebook, and Nextdoor is where we tend to put a lot of our customer-facing messaging. You'll find a variety of topics that even, the media or our stakeholders will find interest in as well. But our main points of communication with the customer would definitely be Twitter and Facebook. And that comes in the form of responding to comments on posts, or even customers reaching out to us within our direct messages, for sure.
Awesome. Yeah. What I think what dive into a little bit later on is that customer reaching out, and I think that's the whole idea of the communication. So with using Twitter and Facebook and these social media platforms, how does ComEd share the messages on social media? Is there like a few of the kind of best ways of how ComEd shares these
Yes,
messages?
Definitely. So what's important to us is using social media to address concerns, issues, topics, questions that are top of mind for our customers. So especially this time of year, what we're seeing are a lot of questions about energy efficiency. How can I keep my bill low with, the outdoor temperatures being so high? What are ways that I can effectively cool my home? What are ways that even, transitioning over to LED light bulbs? So things like that. As I mentioned earlier, we have a unique team of people who are all subject matter experts. So we have folks that are focused on that energy efficiency content. So they will coordinate posts working with the appropriate department on our side and ComEd land to work on the language, the messaging, landing pages within our websites that we want customers to go to get more information. That could also include our ComEd marketplace, which I know Special Chronicles also did a show on earlier this year. But our ComEd marketplace, ComEd.com/marketplace, allows our customers to be able to shop unique products. And this is good for anyone. You could be a renter, you can be a homeowner. There are a variety of products between LED light bulbs. There are water-saving shower heads. There are smart thermostats. But using social media to communicate that to the customer, even just simply asking, are you looking to save money on your energy bill this year? Hey, check out our marketplace website where you can find some energy efficient products to help with that. And the other thing that's most important all year round is payment help. We're seeing inflation hitting us in all different areas, right, Daniel? And your energy bill is no exception to that. Of course, now with it being in the summer months, people are using their air conditioners a little bit more, especially now as we're looking at triple degree temperatures coming this week. Some customers may find that their bills are a little bit more elevated than what they're used to for this time of year, considering the changes, with our temperatures. So always making sure that we are posting content, communicating with our customers. For example, we have our bill payment assistance program for income eligible customers. There are grants that can help our customers with their energy bills. We offer fresh start services. We have a catch up and save program. And one that's near and dear to my heart is the Your Neighbor Fund. And that is actually funded by donations from ComEd employees. And those funds are used to help income eligible customers with their bills as well. So it's making sure that we use our social media channels in the best way to communicate all of the different programs, topics, and other important pillars that ComEd offers, because we of course care about the customer and just want them to know that we're here to help.
Awesome. If our listeners are curious about the ComEd marketplace, if you go to specialchronicles.com/EnergyForce, that's this series, all the episodes related to this EnergyForce series are archived on that page, and you can find, I think it's episode 516, but if you go to specialchronicles.com/EnergyForce, you can find that ComEd marketplace episode, as well as we've done episodes about energy efficiency tips as well. It's really beneficial, I think, for customers to hear about these messages, whether it's energy efficiency tips or help with payment or the discount and the correct services that the ComEd Marketplace offers. And so with all that, let's dive in a little briefly into some of the stats. And can you talk a little bit about how many followers ComEd has on Twitter and Facebook, and the impact that you see with reaching the number of followers that you guys have across social media?
Yes, we are always seeing growth on our customer-facing platforms, which is awesome. Twitter, known as X now, we reached a really great milestone this year, Daniel. We crossed the 50,000 follower mark. We're currently at 50,100, but that is a milestone that we reached this year on our ComEd Twitter X account with 50,000 followers there. On the Facebook side, we're up to 195,000 followers, which is always growing every month. And Instagram, IG, I call it, its nickname. We're at about 6,800 followers on the Instagram page. So Instagram, we use that more for the visual storytelling. You'll find a lot more of that there versus Twitter and Facebook, where it's a lot more text or getting more into the nitty gritty of the programs that we just discussed, or what's moving and shaking with our CEO Gil or our other executives as they're out and about in the community, or other industry related events that our customers would care about. But we continue to grow on those 3 channels for sure. So thanks to all of our customers who have hit that like and follow button on those platforms.
Awesome. Yeah, it seems like Instagram is more like with a lot of images, and like with the wheels now, like with like adding kind of images and video. But then when it comes to Twitter or X and Facebook, it's a lot more of information or showing links or just a lot of that kind of, I guess, more information communication, whereas Instagram is more of a visual like you can communicate visually versus kind of written text, right?
Definitely. And you got it exactly right, Daniel. And this really, and that goes back to our team strategizing the best way, to use those various platforms to get the messaging out. You're exactly right. What Instagram may be able to do for us visually, as far as visual storytelling, could vary from how we use Twitter and Facebook, with more text, more education, as you mentioned, more information, getting a lot more technical and having the space in the room to do that versus Instagram. So it's a lot of strategizing, a lot of balancing, knowing the different tools and tricks of each platform. They're always changing up on us, so it keeps us on our toes to know what's coming and going. But yes, you got it exactly right. Just knowing how to strategize between each platform to effectively communicate with the customer.
Awesome. Well, we're going to take another break. When we get back, we will, coming up, we will get into ComEd in the community, and we'll start to kind of dive into a little bit more of that back and forth communication when we come back right here on SpecialChronicles.com. We'll be right back.
Support for Special Chronicles comes from ComEd. Special Chronicles is proud to partner with the ComEd EnergyForce Ambassador Program. The EnergyForce is the country's first energy efficiency education program designed for and taught by people with disabilities. ComEd is powering lives, and Wary is powering us here at Special Chronicles to keep the lights on and our technology is powered on. As ComEd powers the lives of us, they are literally giving a voice to people with special needs. We thank ComEd for the generous support of our mission at Special Chronicles. Learn more at specialchronicles.com/ComEd. That's specialchronicles.com/ComEd. Support for Special Chronicles comes from United Airlines Bridge Disability Business Resource Group. Special Chronicles is proud to partner with United Airlines and the Bridge BLG. Bridge BLG is committed to being an ally for all employees and customers with disabilities. Bridge helps to create internal awareness to keep accessibility needs in mind and partner with key organizations to empower disability inclusion for employment and travel. Bridge, connecting people of all abilities. Book your travel today on United.com or on the award-winning United app. Learn more on United's commitment to disability inclusion for employment and travel at specialchronicles.com/United. That's specialchronicles.com/United.
I guess this is Shakara Robinson, Senior eChannels Program Manager at ComEd. And Shakara, in the first part of the show, we focused on how ComEd is communicating with the customer. But now, as we kind of dive into ComEd being in the community, we start to kind of get into that dialogue. And I think what we mentioned at the top of the episode is when we talk about communication, it's not just ComEd putting out information on social media, whether it's on Twitter or X or Instagram or Facebook or it's not just putting out, but we start to kind of get into the dialogue. And one of the best ways to do that is through events and being out in the community. So can you talk a little bit about how ComEd is using social media and showing what ComEd is doing in the community, with whether it's us EnergyForce ambassadors or sending photos, or what are some of the best ways that ComEd is?
Definitely. I think one misconception some people may have about ComEd is that we stay, behind the four walls of the office, aside from our hardworking field workers and line workers that you see in the, out and about every day. You might see a ComEd truck or van. That those people are always out day and night. But even on the other side of that, our leaders, our employees that do work at a lot of our buildings or facilities are out in the community as well. So we definitely capitalize on being able to show our customers how we are out in the community. As you said, be it the EnergyForce ambassadors connecting one-on-one with customers in the community, or volunteer events, which are so near and dear to us. We have several leaders who enjoy sponsoring events, rallying up their departments and colleagues and teams to actually go out in the community. I've had the privilege of doing a few volunteer events since I've been here, including helping feed my starving children, Meals on Wheels. I even did some bingo with some seniors at a community center, which was really fun. So there are so many opportunities. It's a privilege to work here in that we're able to, come from behind the desk, come from, in front of the computers and laptops, and physically be able to interact with the community. I think as employees, we are also, your neighbors as well. We live in these communities as well. So it's important to us to be out and about. We also had a resource fair not long ago as well. And we tend to do those a couple of times a year where our teams are out, again, connecting the same way that the EnergyForce ambassadors do, with ways that you can save on your bill, for ways that we can assist with any payments that need to be made, or just general everyday knowledge, about how electricity works, about how, ComEd works, as a company to deliver reliable energy to our customers in Northern Illinois.
Awesome. And we're going to go ahead and take one final break, and we'll get into the next part of this conversation, which is with sending photos, because that's another, when we talk about that dialogue with communication, the customer can communicate with ComEd, just like what we talked about with the social media. ComEd is communicating with the customer, but now after this, the final break, we'll get into how the customer, how you listening, how the customer can communicate back with the customer And so we'll be right back on
Special
SpecialChronicles.com.
Chronicles is hosted by Podbean Podcast Hosting, the easiest, most affordable option to get started in podcasting. At Special Chronicles, we proudly host our weekly podcast with Podbean and highly recommend you use Podbean Podcast Hosting to get started in podcasting today. Sign up for an unlimited hosting plan and get 1 month free now to get started in podcasting today when you visit specialchronicles.com/Podbean. That's specialchronicles.com/Podbean. Our live streams are powered by StreamYard, the easiest way to create professional live streams. StreamYard is a live streaming studio in your browser. Interview guests, share your screen, and much more. Stream directly to Facebook, YouTube, LinkedIn, and other platforms. Sign up for StreamYard today using our StreamYard referral link when you visit specialchronicles.com/StreamYard. That's specialchronicles.com/StreamYard.
And as we talk about that dialogue, which is when we talk about communication with the customer, we really want to stress, I think, the importance of hearing from the customer. So, speaking of sending photos from when the storm's out, can you talk a little bit about the importance of that back and forth relationship and trust that ComEd has with the customers when sharing on social media? Because it's not just like in the first half of the program today, we talked about ComEd sharing this information out, but now with us just to talk about some of the ways that whether it's at events or being out in the community or customers sending in photos when those storms, that ComEd has developed this trust of where customers can hear. Can talk a little bit about the importance of this back and forth relationship?
Definitely. It is a two-way street of communication between ComEd and the customer. And as you said, it's a matter of building trust, right? It's, someone being able to pull up our Twitter and our Facebook page and send us whether it's reporting an outage, which you can do. We do have information on how you can report a power outage, or alerting us of limbs or trees that may be down, or issues that they notice with our infrastructure. One of the things we like to do during storm events where we do have a lot of physical damage, we'll use our channels to post those pictures just to give customers an idea of what our line workers are facing and dealing with as they make repairs and work on restoration. But in the same token, our customers have learned that they can snap a picture in their neighborhood and send it to us, be it as a comment on one of our existing posts. We also have a lot of customers who are savvy enough to send us a DM or a direct message. So I would probably say every day our monitors who are working every hour to respond to our customers see at least one picture from a customer. Hey, this tree has, fallen down on a power line. I'm nervous that, we may lose service. Are you able to check it out? And that allows our team to forward it to the right department. And that department can assess the photo. One, they can determine if it is ComEd's property, or ComEd's lines or poles or whatever the case may be. If it is, then that team can assess, the damage, whatever may be needed, and dispatch out a crew or team or whoever may be needed to make the repair. And if it's a case where it's not a ComEd pole, our teams are able to relay that to us. So if it's a matter of getting a hold of another utility, AT&T, just using it for an example, if it's their pole, letting them know, hey, this one isn't ComEd's, but thank you for alerting us, to this. So we have been able to build that trust and make it a two-way street of communication where customers can notice something that's out of the ordinary or it's unusual and immediately report that to us. It saves us a lot of time, and manpower to visually be able to take a look at that. And again, our teams are able to use their knowledge and skills to assess what exactly is going on and make the best judgment call on how we can come to a resolution for that customer and for the community that they're in.
Awesome. And let's now get into social media plugs. So we mentioned at the top of the program some of the best ways that ComEd is sharing social media, but now for our listeners, can you share kind of the best places where our listeners can follow ComEd on social media and any resources that that ComEd has?
Definitely. So you can always find all of our handles at comed.com. But we got really lucky in that most of our handles on all the platforms are just simply at ComEd, COMED. So that's the same for Twitter, X. You can just type in the @ symbol and ComEd, COMED. You'll see our logo there as well. Same thing with Facebook. We do have the blue check mark there as well, just to signify to our audience that that is the legitimate page. And Instagram is at ComEd as well. So those are the three main channels for customer-facing content. Anyone is welcome to follow us there, most notably our customers. But if folks are interested in LinkedIn, you can kind of get a better feel for what our employees are doing in their day-to-day moments, different events that we have going on. Or if you've ever thought about working for ComEd, following our LinkedIn page would be a great way to get more insight into our mission, into our values, and into the work-life culture that we have over on the ComEd side. So Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, and LinkedIn if you're interested.
Awesome. And so we Special Chronicles, I put a bunch of resources that from this series on specialchronicles.com/ComEd. So a bunch of, and I'll include the after we're done recording, you can send me links to all the social media, and then I'll include that on this page. So because this EnergyForce podcast series is really educational, so we've got a bunch of different topics. So we've made it really easy for our listeners to find resources. We've got links, I think, to the ComEd Marketplace on there. We've got, I think we've got links to energy efficiency, as well as links to where you can listen to this particular series. But so for our listeners, if you go to specialchronicles.com/ComEd, and we'll include links in the show notes for this particular episode, 542, in the show notes to ComEd's social media, as well as to our partner page on Special Chronicles. Do you have any before we get to that final question, as we wrap up, because we're nearing about 33 minutes, so we'll about time to wrap up. But do you have any final thoughts on your overall time here today on the Special Chronicles show?
Well, I really want to thank you for having me, Daniel. This was a really good opportunity to share more about ComEd and our efforts to communicate with the customer. I think, social media started off as one of those things that we didn't know. Was it here to stay? Could we take it serious? Is it dangerous? So many things that we've seen with social media. So to see it evolve to a point where we are able to effectively communicate with the customer, and they are also able to communicate back with us, is amazing. So thanks for the opportunity to share more about that journey and our efforts in social media land.
Absolutely. I think it's always good, especially on this particular series, this kind of educational series, to really share with our listeners, not just energy efficiency tips, but other important topics like last month we had tools with the customer, and now we're talking about communication with with the customer. So, and what better way than a podcast, because you can just pop in your headphones and listen anywhere, or I guess if our listeners are watching this, then you're probably sitting somewhere and watching this, and you might not be taking a walk, but that's the good thing about a podcast is, especially with the audio, is you can really get a lot of variable information. So we got one final question, and so we're going to go ahead and roll the bumper.
We're not just athletes.
We are the ambassadors of an uprising. Peaceful protesters.
In a rebellion against anyone
who has a fear of difference. Difference. Our demands are
equality,
dignity,
and the recognition of our
shared humanity.
We will not stop
or accept anything less.
Today, our world is
more divided than ever,
and coming together has never been more urgent.
The revolution is inclusion. Find out more at jointherevolution.org.
So, ever since I attended the 2019 Special Olympics World Games in Abu Dhabi, I've been asking all the guests one final question, and the great, powerful way to wrap up this episode. And the inclusion revolution is a big message in our Special Olympics movement. That's important here at Special Chronicles, and I'm sure inclusion is also, when we talk about DEI, diversity, equity, and inclusion, I'm sure that's important values at ChemEd as well. So to wrap up this episode, talking all about communication with the customer, what does inclusion mean to you?
Yes, I love that question, Daniel. I think for me personally, inclusion, it goes beyond just the simple acknowledgement of differences. We can all do that. But I think for me, inclusion means making room and being an open-minded participant. It's not just being able to say, we're making space for this to happen, for that to happen. It means being a participant in those changes as well. It means being willing to learn, being willing to grow, and being willing to share different experiences. It's all a part of inclusion as well. It's important to not only acknowledge, that we have differences, but to be open to sharing those spaces and sharing experiences with one another so that we are all a part of the inclusion revolution. So that's what.
Awesome.
Yes.
Awesome. Well, that's a perfect way to wrap up this episode. Thank you again for coming on the Special Chronicles show and this EnergyForce series as we dove into communication with the customer. I'm sure our listeners learned a lot. We'll include links again in the show notes on specialchronicles.com for episode 542, or you can go to specialchronicles.com/ChemEd to find all of the resources from this episode and this series, and go back and listen to our archives and other episodes of the series to find other informative topics. Remember to keep following the Special Chronicles podcast, or tap that follow button on the Apple Podcast, Spotify, or wherever you get your podcasts. Or just write on specialchronicles.com. You can subscribe to our newsletter and follow Special Chronicles on Instagram and Facebook and all those places. You can subscribe to our YouTube channel to watch the full video episodes. New episodes drop every week, every Monday. So don't miss our original content that will help you make impactful and inclusive connections in your life through our podcast. Once again, our website, specialchronicles.com, is where you can find links. And we'll be back next week with another exciting episode. Don't have the schedule open right now, but just stay subscribed because we've got more exciting content coming to you right here on specialchronicles.com. And until then, have a great week, and we will choose to include.
Thank you for listening to this episode of the Special Chronicles podcast. Our podcast was produced by Daniel Smrokowski on the Special Chronicles Network. Follow Special Chronicles on Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn, and YouTube Subscribe, rate, and review Special Chronicles on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or wherever you listen to podcasts. Our website, specialchronicles.com, where you can stream our archives of over 500 episodes for absolutely for free. Also, there's a list of our favorites, original series, award-winning columns, and blogs. And sign up for our newsletter to receive exclusive bonus content delivered to your inbox. Again, specialchronicles.com. Special Chronicles is hosted by Podbean Podcast Hosting. Our live streams are powered by StreamYard. Thanks as always to our business manager, Daniel Smrokowski, who always encourages us to never give up. I'm Daniel Smrokowski, back next week with more stories.
Special Chronicles, giving respect and a voice to people with special